Welcome back. Lincoln currency. The 1984 Lincoln cent, better known to most people as the 1984 penny, is one of the most talked about 1-cent coins in the coin collecting community. At first glance, this coin doesn't seem very special. It's made primarily of copper-plated zinc, weighs just 2.5 grams, and is relatively common. But for some collectors, the 1984 penny has become legendary, not just because of its errors, minting history, and variations, but also due to sensational headlines claiming versions of the coin are worth hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars. To understand why the 1984 penny has captured so much attention, let's go all the way back to the basics. First, we look at its design. On the obverse side of the 1984 Lincoln penny, you'll see the familiar bust of President Abraham Lincoln, a design by Victor David Brenner. This design has been in use since 1909, and it's one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history. Lincoln faces right, with the word Liberty to his left and the date, 1984, positioned to his right. Above his head, of course, is the motto, "In God We Trust." Below the date, and sometimes next to it, you'll find a mint mark indicating where the coin was produced. There are 3 primary mint marks for the 1984 penny: no mint mark, which indicates it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, the letter D for the Denver Mint, and occasionally S, which designates the San Francisco Mint, although in 1984 San Francisco was producing mostly proof coins. The majority of 1984 pennies came from Philadelphia and Denver, with billions of them struck that year. Specifically, Philadelphia struck over 8.1 billion pennies in 1984, while Denver produced around 6.5 billion. Proof coins from San Francisco added another few million. At face value, a circulated 1984 penny is just that, 1 cent. But what makes the 1984 penny special is not just its base value. The excitement begins when we start to talk about varieties, errors, and rare conditions. One of the most famous and desirable errors from 1984 is the 1984 double die obverse. This variety features a strong doubling of Lincoln's earlobe, and it's one of the more dramatic and easily visible double die errors, which is why it's so sought after. In these coins, you can clearly see what looks like a second earlobe just below the first. It's a mistake made during the die creation process, where the hub used to make the die was misaligned during the impression process, causing the doubling. Now, here's where things get interesting. Coins with this error can be worth a considerable amount of money. In circulated condition, the 1984 double die penny might fetch between $100 to $300 depending on its grade and condition. Uncirculated examples can go for $500, $800, or more, especially if graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC. In fact, top quality, mint state examples with this doubling have sold for over $2,000 at auction. But that's just scratching the surface of the 1984 penny story. Over time, rumors and social media posts have taken this story to new heights, with some people claiming that a single 1984 penny sold for hundreds of thousands, or even millions of dollars. Some posts online mention a specific figure, $772 million, for a single coin. Now, let's be clear. As of today, there has never been a publicly documented or confirmed auction where a 1984 penny sold for $772 million. That number is likely the result of viral misinformation, clickbait headlines, or satire gone wild. However, it doesn't change the fact that there are valuable 1984 pennies out there. Just maybe not quite in the hundreds of millions. Let's dive into the reality. Coin collectors and investors are drawn to coins that feature unique characteristics, especially errors or varieties that are rare and visually striking. The 1984 double die obverse is one of those. But aside from that, high-grade specimens, meaning coins in pristine condition with a shiny, uncirculated surface, can still be valuable even without errors. For example, a 1984 D penny graded MS67 Plus read by PCGS could sell for hundreds of dollars due to its condition rarity. The red designation refers to the color of the copper surface. Red coins are the most desirable, as they retain their original mint luster. Red, brown, and brown designations usually lower the value slightly. So, what about other rare features on 1984 pennies? There are a few things that might add value. One example is off-center strikes. If a penny was not perfectly centered when struck, parts of the design will be missing, and collectors pay a premium for such mint errors, especially when the coin is off-center by more than 50% and still shows a full date. Another is die cracks or cuds, which are raised areas caused by breaks in the die. These can sometimes create odd shapes or features on the coin. While not usually as valuable as the doubled die, these types of errors are collectible and can range from a few dollars to over $100, depending on how dramatic the error is. Then there's the mysterious world of counterfeit and altered coins. Some people have tried to cash in on the hype by altering coins to look like rare varieties. Others have created entirely fake versions of the 1984 doubled die. That's why it's so important for serious collectors to get coins authenticated and graded by reputable third-party services. It's also worth noting that many pennies from 1984 have developed unusual toning, colors on the surface due to chemical reactions over time. While toning doesn't always increase a coin's value, beautiful, rainbow-toned coins can be more desirable to collectors. Now back to the claim about the $772 million penny. If we're being real, the most expensive coin ever sold is the 1933 St. Gaudens Double Eagle, which fetched around $18.9 million in 2021. So a 1984 penny selling for $772 million would be absolutely unprecedented. But that hasn't stopped the legend from spreading. One theory is that people saw images of a 1984 penny listed online with a ridiculous asking price, not a real sale, and assumed it meant the coin actually sold for that amount. Online marketplaces often have speculative listings where sellers set absurd prices, knowing the item won't sell, just to attract attention. But here's the truth: a 1984 penny can be worth more than 1 cent. Sometimes hundreds, or even a couple of $1,000 if it's in the right condition and features a rare error like the doubled die obverse. However, even the best specimens are unlikely to fetch more than $10,000 on today's market. So while the idea of a $772 million penny is more fantasy than fact, it still draws attention to the real-world excitement and value potential within coin collecting. As of 2025, the coin market continues to be strong, with collectors actively seeking rare varieties, error coins, and high-grade examples of even modern coins. The 1984 Lincoln Cent remains a fan favorite. It's affordable for new collectors and offers the thrill of the hunt. Millions of these coins are still floating around in change jars, piggy banks, and old coffee cans. Who knows? You could have one in your pocket right now, and that's why people continue to search through rolls of pennies from the bank, hoping to stumble upon a gem. Whether it's the famous double die or a super clean, red-toned MS-67 specimen, the 1984 penny still has a place in the spotlight. Maybe not a $772 million spotlight, but enough to keep the dream alive for collectors, treasure hunters, and hobbyists alike. So the next time you're sorting through your spare change, don't overlook that humble 1984 penny. Flip it over. Check Lincoln's earlobe. Look at the mint mark. Examine the surface. You just might have a piece of history, or a valuable error, sitting in your hands. And even if you don't, you'll have taken part in a hobby that connects millions of people across generations. Coin collecting is about more than just money. It's about stories, history, discovery, and sometimes, just sometimes, a little bit of magic. And that's what makes the 1984 Lincoln Cent so special. Back to the channel. If you're new here, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay tuned because today we're diving deep into a coin that might be sitting in your pocket right now. One single penny, the 2017 D Lincoln Cent. That's right, we're talking about that 1 cent piece with a little D under the ear. Some people say it could be worth hundreds, thousands, and some crazy headlines even scream numbers as wild as $772 million. But is that even remotely true? Could your loose change be holding a hidden fortune? Let's find out. Now, Before you toss that penny aside thinking it's just worth 1 cent, consider this. Coin collecting is a fascinating world where rarity, condition, and historical mistakes can turn the most ordinary coins into incredible treasures. So today, we're peeling back the layers on the 2017 D penny, talking about its origins, what the mint mark really means, which rare versions are actually worth money, and how some collectors are spinning wild stories that make headlines go viral. Let's go back to the basics for just a moment. The Lincoln cent has been a staple of American currency since 1909, introduced to commemorate the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln. Over the years, it's gone through several design changes, but it has always featured Lincoln's profile on the obverse, or front, side. The reverse has had many different designs, from wheat ears, to the Lincoln Memorial, to the shield design used today. That shield design has been in place since 2010, and it's what you'll find on the reverse of the 2017 D penny. Now, about that D mint mark. What does it mean? That D stands for the Denver Mint, one of the primary facilities used by the U.S. Mint to produce coins for circulation. In 2017, the Denver Mint struck hundreds of millions of Lincoln pennies. Yes, hundreds of millions. So, on the surface, the 2017 D penny isn't exactly rare. In fact, over 4.3 billion of these pennies were produced. That's billion with a B. So how in the world can anyone justify a claim that one of these coins is worth $772 million? Here's where things get interesting. In the world of numismatics, the study and collection of coins, rarity, condition, and minting errors are everything. A perfectly normal 2017 D penny fresh from a roll might only be worth face value, 1 cent. But what if there's something wrong with it? What if there's a mint error? What if it's in near-perfect condition, graded at MS 68 or higher? That's when values start to rise, sometimes significantly. There have been instances of 2017 D pennies with unusual characteristics fetching surprising prices. For example, error coins, those with doubling, off-center strikes, die cracks, or even transitional planchet errors, can bring in substantial sums from serious collectors. These aren't coins you'll usually find in your change jar, but they're out there. Some error coins from the Lincoln Penny series, particularly those with dramatic doubling or a rare planchet composition, have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auction. One famous type of error is the doubled die, where the design is imprinted twice slightly offset. While this kind of error is famous in earlier Lincoln pennies like the 1955 double die obverse, collectors still look for doubled dies in more recent issues, including the 2017 D. However, confirmed dramatic doubled dies for the 2017 D are rare and not well documented. Still, if one were to surface, it could attract significant attention and dollars. Let's talk condition now. Coin grading is a huge part of value. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect, flawless coin. A 2017 D penny that scores a 67, 68, or even 69 from top grading companies like PCGS or NGC can fetch a nice premium. Some high-grade specimens of modern coins have been known to sell for several $100s simply due to their pristine state. According to PCGS population reports, there are a handful of 2017 D pennies that have reached MS 68 or MS 69 grades, and these examples can sell anywhere from $50 to a few $100s, depending on demand. Now let's return to that jaw-dropping claim, $772 million. Is there a 2017 D penny worth that much? Short answer, absolutely not. Long answer? Let's unpack it. This number likely originated from a viral post, hoax, or an extreme misunderstanding of coin values. Sometimes, satire or clickbait articles exaggerate claims to get attention. Other times, someone might list a coin on eBay for an absurd price as a joke, and then the listing gets shared around the internet as if it's real. Just because someone lists a coin for $772 million doesn't mean anyone will pay that price, or even consider it rational. But the rumor spreads, people get curious, and before you know it, you have thousands of people checking their pockets for a penny that supposedly could make them richer than Jeff Bezos. It's important to remember that value in the numismatic world is driven by real demand, rarity, and historical significance, not hype. No professional coin dealer, auction house, or collector has ever paid anything close to that kind of money for a 2017 D penny. Even the most valuable Lincoln cents in history, like the 1943 copper penny or the 1909 SVDB, top out in the hundreds of thousands to low millions at the very most. And those are legitimately rare coins with well-documented histories. So why do people keep chasing these pennies? Because treasure hunting is fun. The idea that something so ordinary could be worth something extraordinary is incredibly appealing. And in some rare cases, it's true. That's why collectors keep searching. It's why metal detector hobbyists keep sweeping the beaches and fields. And it's why you're here today, watching this video. If you want to know whether your 2017 D penny could be worth more than a cent, here's what to do. First, check for mint errors. Look closely for doubling, odd shapes, cracks, or anything unusual. Use a jeweler's loupe or magnifying glass. Next, check the condition. Is it shiny, free from nicks and scratches, and nearly perfect? You might consider sending it to be graded by PCGS or NGC. Keep in mind that grading services charge fees, so unless the coin looks truly pristine or unusual, it may not be worth the expense. Also, look up sold listings, not just asking prices, on eBay or other auction sites. See what similar coins have actually sold for. This gives you a real-world sense of market value. In the end, the 2017 D Lincoln penny is not the rarest coin in American history, and it's certainly not worth $772 million. But for collectors, it holds value in the form of curiosity, learning, and the thrill of the hunt. And who knows? You might just come across a mint error or a pristine coin that puts a little extra cash in your pocket. Thanks for sticking with me through this deep dive into the 2017 D penny. Be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications because we're going to explore more coin myths, values, and real-world treasures in future videos. Got a coin you're curious about? Drop it in the comments below. Until next time, keep collecting, keep searching, and may your pockets be filled with pennies that surprise you. Back to the channel, everyone. Today we're diving deep into one of the most intriguing, misunderstood, and potentially valuable coins still in circulation, the 2021 Lincoln penny, also known as the 2021 1-cent coin. Whether you've been stacking pennies for years or you just found one in your pocket and got curious, stick around, because we're about to unpack everything you never knew about this tiny copper-plated treasure, its fascinating history, minting process, variations, rare errors, and why some believe these coins could be worth hundreds, thousands, and even millions of dollars. Yes, you heard that right. There's been talk online about one particular specimen with a rumored value soaring as high as $772 million. Is that even possible? Let's find out. Let's begin with some background. The Lincoln penny has been minted since 1909. That year marked the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth, and for the first time, the U.S. Mint placed the image of a real person on a circulating coin. Before that, U.S. coins were usually adorned with allegorical figures like Liberty. The Lincoln cent started with the wheat ears reverse, transitioned to the Lincoln Memorial in 1959, and then in 2010, the current reverse featuring the Union Shield was introduced, symbolizing Lincoln's preservation of the United States as a single, unified country. The 2021 Lincoln penny features this same shield reverse design. On the obverse, or front, is the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln by Victor David Brenner, which has endured for over a century. What's new in 2021? On the surface, not much, unless you look closer. This is where mint marks, error varieties, and high-grade specimens enter the story. First, let's talk mint marks. In 2021, pennies were produced at 3 U.S. mint facilities: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D mint mark; and San Francisco, S mint mark. The Philadelphia and Denver mints produced billions of pennies for general circulation, while the San Francisco mint primarily produced collector coins. The S mint mark pennies are only found in proof sets and were struck with extra care, making them especially sharp and reflective. Despite their ubiquity, not all 2021 pennies are created equal. What distinguishes an ordinary penny from one that's worth a small fortune, or a rumored hundreds of millions? It comes down to rarity, condition, and in many cases, error types. Let's explore error coins. These are coins that have something unusual due to a mistake in the minting process. Some of the most valuable coins in history owe their fame to errors. In 2021, collectors reported several interesting types of errors on Lincoln Cents. These include doubled dies, off-center strikes, die clashes, and coins struck on the wrong planchets. A double die happens when the coin die itself has a misaligned image, resulting in doubling of the design elements. In 2021 pennies, some doubling has been reported on Lincoln's ear, or on the lettering such as Liberty and In God We Trust. While not all doubling is dramatic, any noticeable double die from 2021 could fetch significant interest from collectors, especially in high-grade condition. Off-center strikes occur when the coin blank isn't properly aligned in the press. A 2021 penny that struck 50% off-center but still shows a full date and mint mark can be worth much more than face value, sometimes hundreds of dollars or more. Struck on the wrong planchet? That's an even rarer and more exciting variety. Occasionally, a penny may be struck on a planchet meant for a dime, nickel, or even a foreign coin. These errors are incredibly scarce and highly collectible. If authenticated, they can be worth thousands. Another important factor is the grade of the coin. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect, flawless coin. A 2021 penny graded MS70 or PR70 by a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC is rare and desirable. Most coins straight from circulation grade much lower, in the MS60 MS65 range at best. A perfect grade can dramatically increase the value. Even without any errors, a pristine MS70 2021 Lincoln penny can sell for several $100s, especially if it's from a low mintage batch or has special characteristics. Now, about that $772 million figure. It's a jaw-dropping number, and understandably, many people are skeptical. The story that often circulates online goes like this: a unique, one-of-a-kind 2021 penny with a spectacular mint error was discovered, possibly struck on a gold planchet, or perhaps containing a misprint of historical significance. It was allegedly authenticated and valued at a staggering $772 million by a private collector or in a shadowy transaction kept out of the public. Is this true? No official sale has ever confirmed this price. As of now, there is no publicly documented transaction or verified auction record of a 2021 penny selling anywhere near that amount. It's possible this figure originated from online hoaxes or misunderstood listings on eBay or collector forums where someone might post an astronomical price hoping to spark interest. That said, strange things happen in the world of numismatics. If such a coin does exist, it has not surfaced in a major auction house. But even without a $772 million penny, there are some verified and certified 2021 Lincoln Cents that have fetched impressive prices. For example, 2021 D pennies in mint state 67 plus RD or higher have sold for hundreds of dollars at auction. A 2021 S-proof penny in PR70 Deep Cameo, part of a complete proof set, has also drawn interest from high-end collectors. Then there's the sheer scale of interest in modern coins. The pandemic of 2020 and beyond reignited coin collecting as a hobby for many people stuck at home. As a result, modern coin varieties have become increasingly popular, and newly minted coins are now scrutinized more than ever for potential errors, varieties, and grading opportunities. So, what should you do if you find a 2021 penny? First, examine it closely. Use a magnifying glass or microscope if you can. Look for signs of doubling, misalignment, off-metal strikes, or any features that look odd or inconsistent. Weigh the coin. Standard pennies weigh 2.5 grams. If your coin is significantly heavier or lighter, that could point to an unusual composition. Compare it to other pennies. Does the color look off? Is the edge reeded or smooth? Is the rim incomplete? Next, consider submitting it to a professional grading service. It can cost $30 to $50 or more depending on the service and shipping fees, but if your penny has any real value, it's worth the investment. Make sure to use a reputable third-party service like PCGS, NGC, or Annex. Finally, always be cautious when reading wild claims online. Just because someone lists a 2021 penny for $1 million on an auction site doesn't mean it's actually worth that amount, or that anyone will pay it. But also don't dismiss your pocket change too quickly. Every year, thousands of rare coins are discovered by ordinary people who simply took the time to look more closely. In conclusion, the 2021 Lincoln penny might seem like a common coin, and in most cases, it is. But among those billions of coins, there are rare gems, error coins, high-grade examples, and collector-specific varieties that can fetch real money, sometimes hundreds or even thousands of dollars. As for that elusive $772 million penny? It remains a modern legend. Maybe it's out there. Maybe not. But the only way to find out is to check your change. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of Lincoln Cents, hit that like button and subscribe for more numismatic content. And let us know in the comments, what's the most valuable coin you've ever found in your pocket? You never know, you might be holding a fortune in your hand right now. Keep hunting, keep collecting, and we'll see you in the next video.